bullshit on the internet I'm hearing. All
Mhm.
right. Welcome to the movie Tweaker podcast episode. I believe we're episode 9. I'm wanting to say. I didn't put it in the title because it takes up too much space, but this is the movie Tweaker podcast. It's a special edition. I might put that in the description after the podcast. I've got this. It's going to be a spoiler-free review and spoiler review. The first part of it's got a review podcast. That's basically what it is. Discussion. But the first part of it is spoiler free. But the last part of it, when we tell you guys, will be a spoiler because there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about. I don't want to do 2 podcasts. Do cut one off, start again. It's all going to be in this podcast. So basically, we're going to start off with spoiler free, like I said. Let me ask Daniel first. With what's going on with the internet, everybody pretty much bashing this movie for some reason. The only thing I could think of, which we'll cover in the spoiler part, is the ending, is why they're bashing it. That's the only thing I could think of. The only other things I've heard of is, how Jesse Eisenberg, a lot of people don't like him as Lex Luthor Jr. for some reason. I didn't think he was that bad.
Mhm.
I just thought of it like this. He's his son, so maybe he don't act like his dad.
Right.
That's how I looked at it. But what's your thoughts? Do you think it's as bad as they're saying?
No, it's critics never really give superhero movies what they like the credit they should get. With all the hard work that was put into it for over the 3 years that they were filming it. It does have problems, this movie, like with the storytelling at times and some of the editing. But they go all these critics bashing it 31% on Rotten Tomato. I don't know why. They call it like Yawn of Justice and other things. Like they call it names. They say it's crazy. Like they ruin Wonder Woman can't even save this mess and a bunch of other things. I don't know why. It's a very entertaining film and it's great action in there, but it has a few problems. But I don't agree with the critics. For one thing, no one's really listening to the critics. It's still making a buttload of money, and it's not going to stop the fans from going or taking children out. So I don't really pay attention to those critics there. So I don't worry about it really. I already seen it 2 times, and I'm going to see it again.
And that's the one thing that blows my mind. Now, you like to see a lot of movies, like if they're real good, you like to see them at least 3, 4 times. Now, I seen it in 3D today. I thought that was the only way to see it. Like how they did everything. I thought that was cool because I was almost gonna go see it in 2D because I was worried that it wasn't gonna be a good movie. So I was like, I don't want to spend more money and the movie sucks. I didn't want it. And the biggest thing that had me resisting this movie is that the movie is over. It's close to 3 hours. What is the exact time again?
Like 2 hours and 34 minutes.
Yeah, so it's a long movie to sit in the theater and for it to be drawn out and suck like a lot of these reviewers are saying. But that's not the case. It's from start to finish, action packed in my book. The only thing at the end, it's a little slow because of what's going on, but that's the end. That fight scene was fucking awesome. There's 2 fight scenes that are really good in this movie. It's I guess I'll save that for the spoiler, but the one scene, obviously, it's Batman versus Superman. That is an awesome fight scene. I think it's cool I think it's cool who won. I thought that was pretty badass. Because there was a winner of that fight, and but it was pretty cool. But it's just a shame the internet's ruining everything. Like the internet dogged this movie so bad to where I almost didn't go see it, and it took your first impressions and Angry Joe's review with his buddies, which Angry Joe kind of gave it I think he gave it a 7 as a Batman fan, a 7 out of 10 as a Batman fan, a 6 as a non-Batman fan, like trying to do it like that. But no, this movie doesn't deserve a 6 or a 7. It deserves, I would say, I'm going with I'll save that for the end. Let me just put it this way. It deserves higher than a 6 and a 7. I don't get how anybody could say this movie is crap. From all the superhero movies I saw, this was like awesome. Like it was just action packed through the whole movie. And I don't get it. Like, why would they okay, let's just talk about the acting. Ben Affleck, I think he's a great Batman. And he's an older Batman in this one. And you can tell throughout the movie how he's referencing, like, he's tired. You know, he's like, every time a bad guy pops up there, you know, we take one down, there's another one that pops up. You know, so he's basically getting to the point where he's kind of getting tired of, you know, I don't know. Did you feel like he's getting tired of being this good guy all the time?
Yeah, he is, because he's gone a more brutal route than before.
Yeah. So that's what I got a sense from Batman. Superman, he was basically Superman. I liked Superman's performance. I thought that it was a great performance. I don't have no problems with Superman in this movie. But I would say Batman, Ben Affleck, you know, over Henry Cavill or whatever his name is that played Superman. I'd say Ben Affleck, you know, nailed it. Ben Affleck's the star of this movie by far. Well, let's fix that. Wonder Woman, that was cool. I like how they introduced her, which you know, they did show it in the previews, but they don't have that music back in it. Like, the music was really cool how she showed up. Like, I love Wonder Woman in this, and I'm very excited for, you know, when they do the Wonder Woman movie. That's going to be great. Wonder Woman, they couldn't pick nobody else better to play Wonder Woman. I thought they did an excellent job. Her name's what was her name, Daniel?
Gal Gadot.
Yeah, that's what I was because I'm looking right here. Gal Gadot. What else has she been in before?
She's in Furious 6. I think Furious.
Okay, Fast and the Furious 6. Okay, because I knew I've seen her from somewhere, but I know she's still kind of new. You know, I wasn't sure. You know, but she's excellent. They couldn't have picked a better Wonder Woman. I'm sorry. I can't. I gotta save that for the spoiler part. But yeah, Wonder Woman was great. I thought Alfred, Jeremy Irons that played Alfred, nailed it. I don't know, like, you got people going on, oh, he's like a mechanic and all this. He's a cool Alfred. Like, they did a good job. Like, I don't know. I just think this movie's getting a lot of hate because it's just gonna get hate, like you said, because of it's a superhero thing, and you got Marvel. So they're gonna kick it, you know, basically take shots at it, do anything they can. Because if you honestly wanted to, you could rip this movie apart on a lot of things. But if you look at the big picture and what they gave you as a movie as a whole, it was an awesome movie. It's like, you're crazy for doing that. I could pick apart any movie if I wanted to. But I'm sorry, this is one of the best superhero movies I would say in a while, and I would say it's gonna probably be in my book. I mean, I'm looking forward to Suicide Squad, but right now this is my favorite one so far. You know, this is definitely it. So acting, Ben Affleck. We got Superman. We talked about him. Jesse Eisenberg with Lex Luthor Jr. What did you think of him? Were you bothered by him like most people? Because that's where everybody seems to be having a problem.
No, I enjoyed Jesse Eisenberg. He was a different take. Again, he made Lex Luthor his own. The first time I saw it, like, I'm not gonna say what happened towards the end, but that ending, I didn't really, with Lex, I didn't get it at the first. But when you see it 2 times, you kind of understand Lex Luthor a little bit more, sort of where he's coming from, because, you know, his dad was, you know, his dad probably didn't treat him well. Basically, he's crazy. That's known from the trailers, and I didn't walk in thinking. I always thought Jesse Eisenberg would do a good job. I never was a hater on him. I always was looking forward, and he did pretty awesome for what he did. I love, like, the little twitches he gave. Definitely some of the dialogue he was given. Just, you know, the way he played it out so well. He didn't creep me out, but he for sure, you know, he'll be a good villain, you know, with Superman, because what he did with Superman, like, there's this one scene with that Superman scene with him. That scene alone, just how he's talking about God and man and bending to man's will and everything, like that, literally, I think was my favorite scene with Lex Luthor. It worked out pretty well with him. And again, I did hear, like, a lot of other reviewers are on YouTube as well. I'm like, people are saying, oh, Jesse Eisenberg, I didn't like him, which, I mean, it's your opinion. you know, you're entitled to it. But he was I think he was great. I mean, he doesn't ruin the movie. Yeah, he was great in there. I really like seeing him, and you know, the hair wasn't that bad after all. I actually kind of got used to it, and it added something to his character.
Well, like I said earlier, you know, this was not Lex Luthor. I don't know why. I think a lot of people thought this was Lex Luthor. This was Lex Luthor Jr. Now, do I know how Lex Luthor Jr. acts? Because I've never, you know, known a, you know, I never knew, like, I'll be honest with you, I never knew Lex Luthor had a son. You know, I didn't. I don't read. I know a little bit about comics, but not, you know, I didn't know Lex Luthor had a son. So I don't know how his son acts. If he is in the comics, how he acted. So maybe this is how he is. But this is not Lex Luthor, you know, so maybe a lot of people are having problems understanding that. You know, and I don't care. I thought he was cool. I thought he did a great job. I mean, okay, not everything's to the T of the comics. They do say this: Marvel follows the comics more, DC doesn't. And that's good. Why do you want to know everything that happens all the time? Like, that's what I don't understand. Like, everybody wants everything to be exactly how it is in the book of a movie, or exactly how it is in a comic of a movie for, you know, superheroes. Well, DC, that's not the case. Sorry. Now, there is some things that really, you know, there's things in this this movie that definitely does follow the comics, and I would say the ending does. That is true. That did happen, you know. So, I mean, I'll save that for the spoiler part. But okay, so we covered Jesse Eisenberg, Ben Affleck, the guy that plays Alfred. We talked about him. Amy Adams as Lois Lane. I didn't think she was that bad, but I mean, I don't think I'm not gonna sit here and say she's fantastic as Lois Lane, but I didn't think she was bad. What about you?
Yeah, she's good in here for, you know, what she does, but well, she's good as acting. You know, she's a good actress, but the storyline they give her, like they give her the storyline with a bullet, all that thing, it's unnecessary towards the plot. I mean, we're here for Batman, Superman, and, you know, of course, it felt like they were just stuffing in things to put Amy Adams in as Lois Lane, just to give her something to keep her in the movie. And it's more like, because this ain't technically Man of Steel 2, it would fit better if this was maybe Man of Steel 2, that storyline with Lois Lane or anything like that. That maybe would have fit in better. But yeah, she had some good, you know, she was good in here as acting wise, but her storyline in general within that whole, you know, the first hour, I wasn't digging it. I gave it like a con in one of my reviews. I said it's was unnecessary, you know. It almost felt like deleted scenes, or just they shouldn't have put it in the theatrical release. But Amy Adams is a good Lois Lane for what she does. And yeah, I like her scenes with Lawrence Fishburne at the Daily Planet.
Yeah, now Lawrence Fishburne, he actually doesn't do too bad as you know, as Perry White.
Right.
You know? I thought he did a pretty good job. You know, I liked him. I liked everybody in this movie pretty much. I thought it was cool in the beginning that you have Jeffrey Dean Morgan and the girl that plays Maggie as Bruce Wayne's parents. That was cool. I liked that. Yeah. I didn't know when you talked about in your first impressions, you said they're in the movie. I was like, what the hell are they doing in the movie? I was like, does Batman and Superman run into The Walking Dead? I was like, what the hell's going on? What is Batman? Does Batman stop Negan from bashing Maggie in the head? I was like, what's going on?
Right.
But yeah, I thought they did great for what they had in that part of the movie. If I had to pick anybody in the movie out of everybody that I had an issue with, I guess you could. I guess if I had to, you would. I guess maybe like Amy Adams and Jesse Eisenberg. I could see where people have a problem with that, but I didn't. It didn't ruin the movie experience for me. I thought I liked Jesse Eisenberg, but I could see those. If you were gonna pick anybody, those would be the two.
Right.
Yes, you know, but I didn't have a problem with Now, I mean, I guess we got to save that for the spoiler too. I can't mention some of the things that they show on that file, you know, the file when Wonder Woman's looking, because I was going to say there is one person that acts in this movie that I'm a little skeptical about, and that's coming. And you know, he's gonna have his own movie, and I don't know how that's gonna go. But yeah, we'll save that for, you know, just a little bit in the spoiler part of this podcast. All right, so you know, what in this movie, what was the things that you liked the most about it, like that, without trying to spoil it?
The most things I liked was the introduction of Batman, for sure. That was the best introduction for Batman ever on, you know, the big screen. You know, definitely Zack Snyder, the way he filmed that Batman opening, like even the opening too, where the bats and everything and the rising, that was perfect. The music in here is one of my favorite things. Like all like Batman soundtrack, Superman soundtrack, Wonder Woman, their soundtrack's awesome. The effects in here are really, really well done, because it was like $250 million budget. So you know the effects were well done. And I saw this in IMAX and IMAX 3D.
Oh,
so
wow.
the IMAX scenes are so beautiful, and the IMAX 3D, you could see the effects more better than with IMAX. Like, IMAX kind of looked like a little at times, but IMAX 3D definitely showed like the full effect. Yeah, I like again Batman's introduction. I thought Alfred, Alfred was not in the movie that much, but he already, and no disrespect to Michael Caine or anything, but he already beat Michael Caine out of the waters for the Dark Knight trilogy. Just the way Alfred is portrayed on screen, and just Jeremy Irons is a badass. I really like that. Yeah, the other,
Now,
Superman.
one thing before before I forget, I'm not trying to cut you off. One thing people are gonna have to understand in this movie, there's more Bruce Wayne than Batman. That's the one drawback of this movie. There's a lot more Bruce Wayne than Batman, and that, if I had to say of any type of con, that's your con. Would you agree?
I'm not sure, because it's kind of a good thing. I mean, you want to see Bruce Wayne a little bit more,
Yeah, but you see, yeah, but you wouldn't think the Bruce Wayne outweighs the Batman, in this movie, to be fair.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, there's more scenes of Bruce Wayne than Batman, but maybe if Bruce Wayne with like the whole Clark Kent and them talking, and then it was interrupted by Lex Luthor, like if that could have gone on a little bit longer, like if Bruce Wayne was actually interacting with more people instead of just, doing a mission instead of not being in his bat suit, they kind of like, I know what you're saying, but
I think that could be something people could pick at, that there wasn't enough Batman in the movie. But that there's a fight. The fight scene between Batman and Superman in the movie makes up for a lot of that. It definitely makes up for a lot of it. But going back to what you liked, so you'd say
was the the Batman introduction, Alfred, the Batcave, the way that that Batmobile car chase was one of the best. Just intense. It was really cars flipping and everything. And the way he enters through the river or like the lake, and it just swoon, like that's an amazing Batcave already. I know we're talking about stuff I like, but I didn't like Superman's introduction at first. The first time I saw it, but then the second time when he like in that whole scene, the desert and all that was really nice.
Now that wasn't the desert. Now there was one thing you got to mention too. In this movie, there's a lot of dream sequences.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there is some parts in the movie if you're watching the movie, you might be wondering what's a dream and what's not a dream, because Batman has a few of them, that goes on. But yeah, continue. I just want to say some stuff before I forget it. What would you say basically you like the most out of the whole movie? Like your favorite part? If you had to say a favorite part of the movie, what do you think? Would it be the fight scene? Would it be how they show? Huh?
My favorite was the nightmare scene, but the thing that comes after the nightmare scene was filmed, like, again, watching it in IMAX. It's basically a tease towards a bigger film in the DC universe. But the cameo after that scene was like, I didn't expect that cameo. You remember with Bruce Wayne in the
Mm.
Batcave. It's like right after the nightmare scene and like the light. I mean, like that's one of my favorite. I think my favorite scene out of the whole movie. I like that, like, and that's what everyone's talking about. Batman killing in this movie, which I'm fine with that. I mean, Batman doesn't always have to be
Yeah,
a good.
but to be fair, like most of the times he was shooting people and stuff was in the dream. Like there is times when he's fighting and he's like basically grabbing a gun from people and like spinning them around and shooting, but at the same time when he was actually shooting the gun, I believe if my memory serves me correct, that was when he was in the dream and those like like the gargoyle type things were coming at him. That was in the dream. So he was and then if you look when he's holding like with Wonder Woman that gun, that's like a grappling gun that he's holding or something like that. So it's not like, because I heard people said Batman's running around with a shotgun. That wasn't a shotgun.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
it's like a kryptonite.
yeah, so that was
Yeah.
something he was using to use against. Well, we'll save that. I mean, I don't know how that's a spoiler. I mean,
Right.
it's just basically helping you guys understand he's not as like what people were making him out to be, like he's running around with a shotgun shooting criminals.
Yeah.
Like no, it was a shotgun, but it was basically shooting kryptonite gas, and
No, but he did kill people in the car chase.
yeah, but did you see them actually dead? Or I mean,
Yeah,
like, because
that's the thing. Like, I'm just saying, like him killing, I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. Like,
yeah, but there's I could get see.
no.
The only problem with all that is basically Batman. If people always seem to think Batman only follows one storyline, that's not the case. There's so many different storylines with Batman in comics, and it's the same thing with every comic book hero. Spider-Man has a bunch of different, stories. Like Flash has a bunch of different stories. They could be doing another story. This is actually where Batman's actually reaching his limit, where he's tired of stuff. He's basically an older Batman. But yeah, so there is some stuff like that I don't think, like I'm agreeing with you. I don't think it's it don't ruin the movie. I mean, look at the latest Batman game, Arkham Knight. The last one, he's running around beating people half to death in the game. He's like pounding people. Just think of that video game, how he's running around the Batmobile shooting cars and stuff. It's the same thing as the movie, But yeah, go on with what you were saying.
Yeah, other than that, the whole nightmare scene, the fight between Superman and Batman, and Wonder Woman's introduction. Not much more. I mean, yeah, it's a few great moments. No, I mean, there's a lot of great moments in there.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, we can't spoil. There is a lot to talk about, but it's got to be in the spoiler part. Like I would say that would be. I mean, what else could you say without spoiling it? Like, like there's not much more without. I mean, the Batmobile I thought was cool in this one. Was it the best Batmobile? Now, in your opinion, do you think it was the best Batmobile ever? I don't, but I did like it. What about you?
I mean, I see it 2 times again, but I don't. It's still like it's hard to see the full-on Batmobile, like how it really looks, like on full detail. So it was kind of hard for me to see. Like they didn't really show it, standing still forever.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I thought the Batmobile chase was really cool. I like the Batjet. I mean, there's been so many different Batmobiles, so many different Bat planes. Like if you watch it all the way back to the show early with Adam West, I mean, there's a ton of different jets and helicopters and stuff he used. But I would say this one is cool. I liked it. It's not my favorite. I believe my favorite one was like basically the one from like Batman Returns. I like that one. I thought that was cool when that first was shown. I like the Tumblr. I like them all. Like I'm gonna sit here and say I like them all. Even the one with Adam West, I liked. I thought that was cool. I don't really have a favorite Batmobile. If I had to pick, it'd be the one from Batman Returns. But I thought Batman, like I said, was one of the best ones in the movie. I would say I liked Wonder Woman second. I just did. I thought Wonder Woman was cool. Alfred was cool. But basically, I mean, without spoiling anything, that would be. Would you say that would be all you could say? Let's talk a little bit about. Do you like the plot of Jesse Eisenberg, of what they did with him? Like, do you? I mean, we could talk about that without spoiling it, I guess.
That's one of the problems again with this movie and with the Lex Luthor storyline and others, is like other things, like there really is no like reason why he needs to go after Superman technically.
Yeah.
He just wants, he thinks that, he could turn on us, but I mean, Superman's fine at the moment, you know what I mean? Like, he just makes it worse, Lex Luthor. Like, there's no really motivation. Like, all of a sudden he's just a bad guy and I'm gonna create what he creates in the movie. Like, he's just like, there's no real, for one thing, like, they didn't really build the character of anyone really in the movie. They didn't really build the characters up. They didn't like introduce like them properly. They just kind of like, they didn't introduce Lex Luthor properly. He's just kind of playing basketball and all right, there's Lex Luthor, and then he goes.
I think because they had too much going on in this movie. That is one thing I'll say. There was too much to go on, too much to do. If they would have left it more just Batman versus Superman and not had all these other characters that they, like other plot lines and all this stuff, maybe it would have been easier to tell a story, because really, if they just done Batman versus Superman, all they would have to do is introduce Batman, because we already saw Superman from Man of Steel. So like there was, but when they add all this other shit, they're leaving it, up in the air, to like you're thinking in your head, well, why is this, but it's not that bad like how people are putting it. Like, you can't figure out stuff. Like, no, the movie is action packed from start to finish pretty much, except like the last part, it's something goes on that I could see people having a problem with, but that's what happened. Yeah, basically, if you want to run down like what the movie is without trying to spoil it, basically the beginning of the movie is if the world's gonna accept Superman. If he's basically, like, a lot of people have issues with him with his powers, basically because they feel he could destroy the whole planet if he wanted to. Batman, something happens to Batman with his people, like, as it works for Wayne, Wayne Enterprise, that he's pissed, he feels that Superman's a danger to society, and what happens to some of his board members he don't like, I would say my biggest con in this movie, which it still don't bother me that much, but after the big fight with Batman and Superman, it's just like, oh, that's it. Oh, okay, you're cool now. Like, that's how Batman is. Like, oh, okay, we're buddies now. Like, that was a little fast, I guess you'd say. They could have had a little better storyline than that. But I mean, like I said, you have a lot of shit going on, that they have to explain, and I mean, I guess they had to do it that way, let's be honest, could the movie been better? Yes. Every movie could have been better. I'm sure, some of the X-Men movies could have been better. Wolverine movies, Deadpool, the list goes on. I'm sure they could have done a bunch of things more better, but this is what we got. People wanted it. I think, in my opinion, they fulfilled their end of the bargain. I think they gave us a good movie, without spoiling it, without trying to ruin anything for you. Any more you want to add with the spoiler-free part of this podcast, Daniel? Besides our review score,
right? There's one other person we didn't talk about in this movie, or well, no, we'll get to that one in the spoiler. But there's another person in here, that guy who's Russian in the movie. He's like works for Lex Luthor, that actor.
Yeah, he's like his side man, I guess you'd say. Okay, yeah, we did forget about him. He's what's his name? Let's see. Callan Mulvey, I believe his regular name is. I don't know what his name was in the. Do you know what his name?
I know, like, he's based off the comics as like he's not in the movie that like character yet, but he's like KG Beast. That's like basically the name. He's KG Beast. He's like basically just a hitman contractor guy, and he came out in 300, which, well, not the one Zack Snyder, but he works close with Zack Snyder, that guy. So that's why, you know, I liked his role in there. I thought he was pretty badass. Like, because I remember when they said 2 years ago he joined the cast, and I was like, well, people were speculating, everyone's speculating, what's he going to be? Is he going to be some villain? Is he going to be Flash? Is he going to be, you know, who's he going to be? And then they end up, you know, I see him in the movie and then seeing him in the desert, I'm like, okay, he's just some guy. All right. But I like the role he played. He did a good Russian voice for, you know, what he did. The cool action scene that it almost reminded me just like the Dark Knight, the car chase and then the bazooka or whatever, like almost like the Joker. It reminded me a little bit of that. But I liked his role. I mean, for what he did. I don't think what happened, you know, when Batman, remember that warehouse fight, and he went through the floor and everything, like that fight, intense. Like that's the good thing about like Batman, so intense back. But with what happened with the character there, I thought that was kind of like, oh, they just kind of, you know, whatever with the character. But yeah, I enjoyed that guy. I don't know. I think it's Antonioff something. But then that scene, of course, I don't know. It's like a Fight Club scene. Remember that? It was like, I guess Bruce Wayne had somebody fighting, and I honestly
Bruce Wayne basically that was when he's trying to get information, and he ends up giving the guy a tip in the fight, and the guy kind of looks at him funny at first, and then all of a sudden he wins the fight, and he's like pretty much giving him a heads up, like, thanks, man.
Yeah, that was it was just that was an intense fight though. The guy, when he was like, he threw him on the ground and hit him with the leg and like the kick. But it was pretty good. Again, just that character. He was in. I wanted to see a little bit more of him, but maybe, you know, like could have saved him, you know, because KG Beast. They could have done, you know. I mean, maybe you never know. It's a superhero movie. People, you know, he wasn't a big character in the movie, but I thought that the guy, you know, he's a good actor, and you know, he's not like a small actor.
Yeah, he kind of had the same role as, I would say, the girl that was helping Lex Luthor. They had very small. I think she had a little bigger role than him. Her name was Mercy Graves. Huh?
What was the Chinese one?
Mercy Graves. Real name is Tayo Akamoto or something. But yeah, Mercy Graves. That's what they have her written down here. I mean, I didn't hear her name in the movie, but that's what they have it here.
Yeah, she barely talked for like one sentence, and that was it.
She was basically like in the court, like when there's a part in the courtroom where basically they got Superman coming to defend himself, and they set off like something happens there. She's there to cause that. There's like, I'll sit here and say it's not a big spoiler. It's a bomb that goes off, and they try to frame Superman. Another person too we're forgetting about before we end the spoiler part of the review. Holly Hunter's in the movie as Senator Finch, I believe her name is. Yeah, she was all right. You know, she was all right. Nothing great. Nothing fantastic. Little annoying. I mean, okay, I think she played her role, but it was all right. You know, I mean, what do you think?
I honestly didn't care for her. Like the scenes with you know, nothing against like Holly Hunter herself, but just in the movie, it just didn't feel like all of a sudden she's meeting with Lex, and then I don't know, she's like, I'm assuming not, but like flirting with him, or I don't know. They're like, this is like weird awkward moment between them, and she's like, you can call me anything you want, and like it's just weird. Like their scenes together just didn't mix well, because then like Lex is doing all this bunch of crazy talk dialogue, and then she's just like, I don't know, like flirting.
Well, you think a lot of that has to do with like some of this movie, like they had to cut it out? Like, do you think when we see the full version, this movie. A lot of stuff will be explained, or I don't even want to say it like that. No, it's not like that. I'm just saying there is some side things that are going on that probably could have been explained more. Does it ruin the movie that they did cut out some of the stuff in the movie and saved it for the DVD because they want to make it so long, or Blu-ray? I think it'll be cool to see another, like the full. What's the best way to explain that without making it sound bad? I can't really. You get what I'm saying, Daniel?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, because a lot of people, you do have to understand this. The movie's great. I'm not sitting here saying, with it missing, because I have to come out and be honest, because I'm not going to sit here and be a fanboy or anything like most people are here on YouTube. They did cut some stuff out of the movie, which basically is going to be on the Blu-ray and DVD version, because they didn't want to have it as a long-ass movie. That was one thing. So some things may be in the Blu-ray DVD version to explain more of what went on. But for anybody not figuring out when you're watching a movie what's going on, I feel sorry for you. I don't think you need to watch this movie then. I think you need to stay with Nickelodeon. I'm just being honest. I don't think you're on the level of Batman and all that then if you can't figure out what's going on. But I think the movie was long enough. It was perfect. I think I was happy. I'll tell you one thing. When I sat there in the theater from start to finish, I was watching it. There was one time I had to go to the bathroom, and it was the part when Lex Luthor's on the roof with Superman towards the end, and I just ran as fast as I could to go to the bathroom because I didn't want to miss anything. That's the only part I had to go to the bathroom, but that was it. It wasn't a movie you were bored at any time in the movie. You're always wanting to see what's happening next. If you're a Batman fan, Superman fan, DC fan, you will love this movie. Fuck these people on YouTube and the internet of what they're telling you. That's a bunch of bullshit. They're ruining the movie for people and making them not want to see it. I don't understand how anybody can say this movie was bad. I'm just being honest with you. The internet, I will never listen to another review on the internet again if it's bad. I have to judge it for myself because you got a bunch of people dogging this movie and it's fucking false bullshit they're saying. That's just my take.
Right.
What about you, Daniel?
Yeah, with the reviews.
Just the reviews, all these reviews. Even Chris Stuckman, he didn't. He didn't dog the movie, say it was bad. He gave it a C plus, but I was like, a C plus. After seeing the movie, I'm like, well, a B at least. What? I don't understand it. I'm lost.
Yeah, well, you have to see it two different ways. As a superhero movie alone, yeah, it's fantastic. It's amazing. It's great action. It's entertaining. Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman fighting alongside. That's just half of the Justice League right there. You can imagine the other three members fighting alongside with them. That's amazing. That's 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10 sort of stuff. But if you turn off the superhero brain and all that, just if you turn that off and look at it as a movie itself, just as a movie, and the way it's directed and written and edited and all that, it is a messy film. It is sometimes not well-made film. But then again, yeah, you have that the excuse of it's going to be longer, the 3-hour version, R-rated version, which is great. Mm-hmm. But it's a theatrical version. You should have prioritized that more than you know what I mean. It has editing problems, it has storytelling problems, and it's oh
yeah, the movie has its issues, but I've seen these same people do a review on The Visit and say that was a great movie, and I went to the theater and seen that shitty ass movie and it sucked. It was horrible. I was like, what are they talking about? That movie right there, that movie review that I watched some of these people on, and this movie review made me find it very hard to listen to people on YouTube anymore or on the internet in general. Now I have to go, if I'm really want to see a movie, just go. Don't even listen to these people because they're leading people in the wrong direction on this one, and I don't know why. Okay, I will say yes, the story is a little like this, but is it bad? No, it's not. It's not bad. This is a movie you definitely want to see in the theater for all the action scenes. There's so much action in this movie and great special effects. You'd be crazy not to see this in the theater. And 3D is the way to go, or IMAX. I didn't see an IMAX. I saw it in 3D. I couldn't imagine what it'd be like in IMAX.
It's amazing.
But it's cool. Like they did a great job. But yeah, they have their flaw. Every movie has its flaws, and in this movie, the story they could have done better with it. But I think with what everything they had to introduce and everything, that's the best they could do. And I'm not going to kick them for it because they did a great job with the movie on many other aspects. It's at the end of the day, is the movie entertaining? Hell yes. That's what counts. Like, I mean, that's my book. I'm gonna give it a review of from a 1 to a 10. I would give it, and this is me being fair with like its flaws and everything. I would say an 8.9. That's what I'm gonna give it to. That's me. That's me. That's where I'm almost not quite a 9, but 8.9. It's still in the 8 area. And I think that's fair for the flaws it did have. And I think the better stuff, all the great special effects, how they did Batman, the fight scene, 2 fight scenes that you get, the which I'll say in the spoiler review. Wonder Woman, awesome. I thought Superman was great. I didn't think he was bad at all. I'm not the biggest Superman fan, but I actually enjoyed him as Superman. But I do think I have to be honest and say Batman stole the show in this one, and I can't wait to see like if Ben Affleck decides to do I think there was talk him just doing a Batman movie, right, Daniel?
Yeah.
Okay, that's gonna be awesome. But what did you give it on the score? Because I didn't see your review. I saw your first impressions.
No, my review's like 33 minutes long. And my spoiler review is 40 minutes long. So
okay.
Yeah. But it's great. You gave it an 8.9 out of 10. I gave it an 8.8 out of 10. Like literally.
Okay.
But I gave Deadpool a 9.1 out of 10, which Deadpool has way less, problems than what this movie has, but yet it's still a great movie. But
I saw a little bit of Deadpool last night. I was just tired and I fell asleep. It's a great movie. I like Deadpool. And I saw from the beginning to basically about a quarter of the movie. I like it. I think Deadpool's pretty cool. I'm gonna watch probably the end of it tonight or tomorrow. But I like Deadpool. It's pretty good. But I'm just one thing you guys got to understand. I'm gonna be honest. I'm a huge Batman fan. Now I could sit here and say if the movie was like George Clooney with Mr. Freeze, you know what? I could see where people would be picking at that. But me at the time when that movie came out, I thought it was cool Arnold was Mr. Freeze. I liked it. I liked Poison Ivy. I liked Uma Thurman, but I could see people having a problem with that. And I would sit here in a review and say, hey, it wasn't that good. This was not that case. This was awesome. And I really do feel bad for Ben Affleck because he put his all in this movie and did a great job as Batman, but you have these shitty people on here giving it bad reviews, hurting his great performance. And the guy did prove everybody wrong. The guy did an excellent job as Batman. I think he is probably one of the best Batmans, other than in my book, Michael Keaton's the best. I would say next would be Ben Affleck. I liked him as Batman.
Right.
Okay, guys. So everybody watching, I'm just saying right now, we're going into the spoiler part of the review. We're gonna go more detail on some things we couldn't say in the spoiler-free part of this podcast. So if you don't want to get spoiled, shut it off. Because shut it off here. And we will say throughout this part for people that are tuning in, just that this is the spoiler part of the review. I wrote it in the description. It's a spoiler-free review. So okay, let's basically start out with I guess we'll go with the whole thing with the fight scene. Okay, the Batman Superman fight scene was fantastic. It was something I've always wanted to see. I thought it was like Freddy versus Jason. I always wanted to see that, and I always wanted to see the Batman versus Superman. The only problem with this whole fight was the end of the fight. I hate to say and this is spoiler part of the review. Batman kicks fucking Superman's ass. You know, there is parts where Superman's winning, but Batman wins the fight, and it's really cool. But when he has him down on the ground and he's about to jab that kryptonite stick through him, that's what I call it. Basically, Amy Adams, Lois Lane, runs in and says, because he's saying Martha, right?
Yeah, Martha.
And he's like, who? Like, Batman's like all freaking out because he thinks he's talking about his mother.
Mm-hmm.
And he's basically telling him, hey, I got to say, my mother's in danger with, you know, Lex Luthor Jr. And that, the crazy part of all that is just like, oh, okay, let me help you up. Everything's okay now. Let me just get you off the ground. Like,
yeah,
that was a big problem right there. But like I said in the spoiler-free part of the review, was it that big of a problem where, you know, I understand the movie, they can't go on forever in the movie, you know, but it was a little like, huh, like, you know, what was your thoughts about that?
Well, yeah, I thought it was interesting. Or again, the fight was awesome. It was great. In IMAX, it looks amazing. But the whole, like, after that, he's like, oh, Martha's not going to die tonight. And then all of a sudden, it cuts to him with his regular Batman suit, out of the armor suit, already in the, like, he has, like, literally, like, 10 minutes until Martha dies. And, like, he's already in his suit and everything, and in the Batwing. And it's because, again, they just fought, and, like, Batman was like, here I am, all cocky and ready to fight. And, like, I'm a friend of your son's. Like, when he saves her, it's like, are you really, like you're friends now? All, like now you all know, like, they barely talked for, like, Batman and Superman barely talked in this movie. Like, Clark and Bruce talked more than what Batman and Superman talked.
Yeah,
so
it's
I
like,
had a problem with that.
well, just how they just, like, how he got over it so fast. Like, you know, because one reason why Batman feels basically that Superman is a danger to the world. You know, that he's going to basically just he has the ability just to just, not saying he's going to do it, but Batman don't like that he can just destroy everything if he wanted to. Mm-hmm. And basically, when they were fighting him in Zed, is that his name?
Zod.
When him and Zod were fighting in the last one, basically, I guess they destroyed, you know, one of the Wayne buildings.
Yeah.
And that, you know, and basically Bruce Wayne, you know, lost some, you know, people close to him. And basically that's what, you know, he's seen all the destruction and everything, and the little girl standing there that he to save, and it just showed him what Superman is capable of doing. And he don't want it, you know, he don't want him there. You know, he don't think he's good. But then, like, all that shit that goes on, they come to that part, and he just basically just like, oh, hey, are you hurt, buddy? Let me get you some water. Let me go get some ice. Like what? But I will say this: the suit that he builds to fight Superman is cool as hell. Like,
yeah.
I love that. You know, I thought that was really cool how he fought Superman. Batman, you know, I was happy that he won the fight because Batman's my favorite superhero. Period. You know, I was hoping Batman kicked his ass. But, you know, that was one issue I had with a lot of people are about Doomsday. I thought Doomsday was so like how they, now the one thing I don't understand, like, because I didn't see I'm not a big Superman fan. I like Superman pieces of the Man of Steel, and I've been meaning I was almost going to watch it before I went and seen this. I've seen all the Batman shit. I like Batman. I don't like Spider-Man. But basically, were you how they were creating Doomsday, like with the ship, like
how he was created?
No, like just how Lex Luthor just goes on a ship and it's all working for him, and he creates Doomsday. Like, isn't that a little weird? Like that was like some issue that I had, you know, with the movie.
Like some of the storyline, how that, like, it's not really explained either.
Yeah, like I was a little lost on that part, and I was like, oh, he just knows how to just create Doomsday. Like, he's just gonna create Doomsday like it's no problem. He's just talking to the ship. You know, I'm a little lost there with that.
Yeah.
That was an issue, I would say. But Doomsday, like when he comes out of that, that sack or whatever he's in, he's ready to go. Like Doomsday is really cool in this movie. The fight now, the second fight scene with Doomsday, against Wonder Woman and Batman and Superman, that was awesome. Especially when Wonder Woman comes in and they're playing dun dun dun, like the music is just cool as hell. How they introduce Wonder Woman and her outfit. But I thought that what fight scene did you like better, Batman versus Superman or them versus Doomsday? I thought they were both good.
I don't know. That's kind of hard. I mean, both of them had their great moments.
Do you think they both were good fights though, or did you not like one of them? Or
Yeah, they were. Every fight in the movie's great.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I thought it was the Doomsday fight was just cool. Like some parts of the Doomsday fight I liked more than the Batman Superman fight.
Well, the Wonder Woman fighting Doomsday and everything, it was kind of funny to see how, like, because it's true, Batman can't do much. I mean, Doomsday's sort of like he's kind of just standing there, and like Superman is flying around, Wonder Woman's getting thrown around, he's just standing there. When he could throw the kryptonite and easily, like, then they could go after him. But
yeah, these are metahumans, and he's fighting. He don't really. Now, going back to the Batman Superman fight, there was a part in the fight where Superman basically, I guess his armor stopped working, his suit. Like, did you notice that?
Who, Superman?
Yeah, no, Batman. His suit stopped working. Like when he was fighting, it was still lit up, but he was starting to lose strength against Superman. Did you notice that or no?
No, I didn't. Like, he just lost power, or he just couldn't.
No, it's just like when Superman started actually fighting back, it was like the suit wasn't working as well. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, it could have been damaged then.
Yeah, that's why I seen it was still lit up, but half of his suit does, like that face thing does get broken off. It's a cool fight. Like, I enjoyed the fight, both fights. There's a lot of other scenes, but those are the two main fights.
No, it was great.
But there's not really no reason why, like, the whole thing with Lex Luthor creating Doomsday, they could have explained that more. Don't you think?
No, they could have, yeah.
Yeah, that was a big. I could see people having problems with that. Now in this movie, they show the Flash, they show Aquaman, which I would say out of all the people they showed on that file, because basically there's a file that Bruce Wayne goes and gets at a Lex Luthor party, or he gets, and then basically Wonder Woman takes it from him because he goes to get his little like thing that's basically ripping off information, and Wonder Woman's got it, and then she gets in her car. She gives it back to him, because he tells her, he says, "I think you got something of mine that you stole," and she basically says something like, "Oh, a thief stealing from a thief," or something like that. And he ends up decoding the file, and when Wonder Woman's looking at it, because he gives it to her, back to her, and that's where they show you the Flash. Because at first they show the files, and I seen the Flash, but I was like, oh, Batman didn't click on it. So later on, when Wonder Woman's looking at it, she clicks on it, and it's cool. Like, Flash is in the store, basically in a convenience store, and there's a robbery, and he's getting, like, I guess, like a soda or, like beer or something. And basically, you can see him sitting there and going through the store at the same time, fighting, the bad guys, and it looked kind of cool, or the robbers. I thought that was cool. Now the bad one at all of them. The bad one at all of them, I would have to say Aquaman. I'm a little worried about that. What about you?
I love Aquaman.
You like that? Oh man,
especially seeing it in IMAX. And, like, you gotta imagine, you're thinking, how is Jason Momoa gonna work as Aquaman? How's he gonna look like actually moving around? And then when you're seeing it, I waited 6 hours in line to see the movie, and you're ready, you're anticipating it, and you're sitting down, and he's going to be shown. You just don't know how. And when you see the files, like, you're kind of like, how's he going to look? And the eyes glowed, and then when he emerged out of the ship with the trident, he looked badass. He looked amazing. He looked fierce. He looks like, Aquaman's not going to be known as a wuss anymore.
Well, the problem I have with it, they could have done a little bit better of an introduction with them. How they came out of the, I don't know. It just looked weak. It did. It looked a
No,
little phony.
yeah,
That was the problem. Like, because
yeah,
I do hear people complaining about this. I heard the complaints about Aquaman.
yeah.
I
They
did
could have
like,
done a better.
huh?
They could have done a better introduction, like maybe have footage of him commanding animals or something underwater. Like would have been a better
It
cameo.
just, in my opinion, I just think it was weak. It was a little meh. Just how he goes, he like strikes his thing at him. I was like, but I think
Yeah,
Aquaman, it could be a good movie. I'm gonna give it a chance when it comes out. But that was
right.
now the one I didn't know. Who was the guy that was basically at a lab testing the guy on the? Who was that?
Cyborg.
Okay, I was Cyborg, so I didn't know who that was, but that looked cool. I thought that was cool, but I just didn't know who the hell it was. So
Yeah,
everybody was cool. The only one that they showed that I didn't care for was Aquaman. Which that could be a different thing when the movie comes out. Maybe it was just a bad way they portrayed him, in this movie. But
right.
yeah, that was my only problem with that. But that they did show that. Basically, what's some other stuff we could talk about with the spoiler stuff before we get to the end, like which I want to talk about.
Well, the cameo. Well, the nightmares. The nightmare
Oh,
thing.
the
You know what you're talking about?
nightmares. Yeah, the night.
That,
Now people had issues with the nightmares, but why? Like, what was bad about that?
I mean, well, the thing is people like who don't know, obviously, like DC or like just like a mom taking their kids or something. People will have problems, and even critics too. I mean, they don't know much about. You don't know if they know much about DC. And like, it's basically just hinting at Justice League or where they're going. Like, you have to know sort of where it's headed. It's like a dream sequence. It's like a future. Basically, Batman's looking into what the future could hold if Lois Lane dies and if Darkseid comes to the planet. And that's why when the Flash came, he was saying a bunch of things, which I actually have what he said. But it's a thing like the parademons, the flying demon things. That's Darkseid's minions, and that means Darkseid's there, but we didn't see him, which I wish we did. That'd be cool. But it's his demons. They're like his minions, and basically it just showed the future of where Superman went rogue. Lois Lane most likely died. And Lois Lane's the only person that's keeping Superman in check, as in, like, Lois always says, you got to do good. You have to do this. Like, stay true. And if Lois Lane dies, then Superman basically, like, then he could basically kill everyone if he wanted to. Like, that's what keeps him, like, grounded is Lois Lane. So that was interesting to see. That's what I would understand people, like, it's a nightmare once he wakes up, of course. But seeing the flying monsters and all, like, it is out of place, but it was a good tease for what Justice League, or what the future could look like, because that is what the future will look like if Lois Lane dies. And so it gives you just a tease of like what it could be in the future.
Mm-hmm. One thing I want to say is echo a little bit. Echo. I think it's on your end, Daniel. Is it mine? Hold on one second.
You still there?
Basically, what I want to say is thank you. I just want to give a special thanks to some people for watching the podcast. Deal with Tor hit me. I thank you for watching the podcast, man. Mario, thank you. Mario Raventa, thank you for watching. Matthew Pipes, 16-bit Gamester, Kazooie, Levon Kason, Bear Hugger 29, BGL. Thank you all for watching. Let's see what some of them said. Even though the action scenes in this movie was legit. Yes, I do agree. Kazua, I didn't like that they killed Mercy, but whatever. Mercy. Do you remember that part, Daniel?
The Chinese girl.
Oh, okay, okay. The scene with Batman in the warehouse was sick. Yes, I agree. I agree that he agrees the movie, The Visit was terrible. Yes, I agree. What's up, Bear Hugger? He took fingerprints of Zod to operate the ship. Yes, I did notice that. I was just a little lost on the whole ship scene. Would you say, Daniel, were you a little lost on that part, or was it just me?
You would think the alien ship would be smart to notice that this guy's not
Yeah.
a Kryptonian.
Mm-hmm.
And he's stepping in the water. Obviously, if the water could sense that Zod was in there, they could assume a human is in there.
Yeah, and then he gave his blood to Zod, and it, I don't know. I was just a little lost on that part right there. I could see where there was people could be bothered a little bit at times with this movie, but not enough to say it was dog the shit out of this movie, like it was something terrible. I mean,
Right.
but there is some parts that they could have explained better. What's up, the horror filmer? I appreciate you watching the podcast also. In the whole beginning of the movie, they basically have an issue with Superman. And they're basically Lex Luthor's trying to frame him at the courthouse. He's trying to make Superman look bad. You had that going on. Then you had Batman with the Batman and Superman fight. You had Lex Luthor basically taking Superman's mom to force him to fight Batman. That went on. And then he had some flashbacks with his dad. There was a lot of flashbacks in this movie. I wouldn't say so many that basically it killed the movie or anything. I thought the flashbacks were cool, that happened. So he basically, I guess let's get into the big part. I guess, and VGL brought this up just in the comment section. And if you are watching this and you haven't seen this movie and you don't want it spoiled, I'm gonna give a huge spoiler right now. So turn it off if you don't want to hear it. I'm just giving the heads up one more time. In this movie, basically Superman dies. Okay. Superman basically gets killed by Doomsday. And it is something that happens in the comics. I don't read a lot of the comics, but my brother, he used to know all about the comics, and I remember that was a big thing. He told me that Doomsday kills Superman. And basically Lois Lane's telling him in the movie, no, stay here, blah 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 blah, trying to keep him there, and he's like, no, this is my planet too, and basically saves the rest, because Wonder Woman has them in the whip, like the lasso or whatever it's called, has them basically caught, and then Superman goes in, but then he gets stabbed too by Doomsday. But the end of the movie, they have the whole funeral and everything, and basically you see on his coffin stuff starts rising, so he's coming back. He comes back in the comics. It's just VGL said that he feels bad for Superman fans. It's not Superman's. He's not dead for forever.
Well, it works out well with his death because, for one thing, when I first saw it, I was like, this is why I didn't like the last 20 minutes, the twist of him dying. But when you think about it, when I saw it the second time, it made sense because it's going to take him a while to regenerate, because obviously he's alive, but he's not going to burst out that moment. It's going to take him still a few weeks maybe to regenerate. But that gives, in the Justice League, that gives Bruce and Diane time to get the other Justice League members. And then because now that Superman is out of the way, and remember, Lex Luthor was teasing at the end that he's coming. There's a big threat coming. And he's like, the doorbell has already been rung and they can't be unrung. So that means Darkseid is coming. So now that Superman's dead and all the planets know that Darkseid's dead, that means, Superman's dead. Darkseid now knows that Earth is vulnerable. So now it gives Batman time to form the Justice League. Superman comes back, and then he ends up seeing that they created a team, and then they go fight Darkseid, that sort of thing.
Now, do you
Batman's
think,
the man in charge?
Even though I love Doomsday in this movie, do you think Doomsday was the right choice for a villain in this movie?
I really think they should have maybe saved it for Man of Steel 2 or something, or maybe even Justice League, but more like Man of Steel 2 seemed like a Superman just versus him sort of fight. But who else would they could have used? They could have used Lex Luthor in the mechanic suit, like a mechanical, his Lex Luthor armor, but it's too quick to bring Lex to that.
Yeah,
and even
they had to go with this pretty much. They had no choice. But I'm sure, like, I didn't know what people were talking about when I seen the reviews and they said, oh, the twist, they didn't like the twist, but I didn't find it that bad because I knew that's what happened, like when he, with the whole Doomsday thing. So I don't think it's bad. It's not that Superman's not coming back. I like that Batman and, well, Bruce Wayne and Wonder Woman, who, what her real identity is, I can't remember. They're talking at the funeral, and basically he's telling her, we need to find the rest of people like you guys, like, and we got to form a group. And she's like, why? But he's like, because they're basically telling her there's a threat coming. He just said he feels it. Yeah. And basically, so that's it. It shows you the start of the Justice League. It did its job. I think the next one will be even better. Even though I love this movie, and I love this movie. I thought it was great, and I'm so glad that I watched your first impressions, and because I almost didn't go see it. I was almost convinced that it sucked, and it's not the case. This movie is great. Like, you will enjoy this movie, and I recommend anybody to see it in 3D or like how Daniel saw it. I'm sure it's good that way too in IMAX 3D, but definitely see it in 3D. So the whole Doomsday thing with basically killing Superman. What other things that happen in this movie that we couldn't cover in the spoiler-free part? What would you want to talk about?
Well, again, we have to talk about the Flash's cameo because he does 2 cameos. Of course, you already talked about the first one, the gas station, which was I like that. But Bruce Wayne didn't even look at it whatsoever. Like, I don't even know. I guess that's either in a deleted scene or they just never showed it in the theatrical. But the thing is, the Flash comes to him, and it looks like it's a nightmare or a dream, but it's real. Flash is coming to him like that's future Barry Allen coming to the past to talk about what's going to happen. And here's what he says. It was hard to understand in the theater, but I have the words that like what he says to him. He says, "Bruce, listen to me now. Lois Lane, she is the key."
Wait a second. Yeah. So I didn't know that was the Flash. I was wondering what the hell that was. So that was the Flash talking. So that makes even more. See, then now that's a problem because like I seen the Flash at the convenience store, but to me I couldn't tell that was the Flash talking to. I was like, who is that guy? Like, I almost forgot about that part because I didn't know who the hell. I knew it was a dream sequence, but I didn't know what the hell it was. That's cool.
Yeah. It's a future. He's in the future, and basically that future Flash probably lives where Superman is rogue and everything, and he.
Oh, okay.
Like you said again, Bruce, listen to me now. Lois Lane, she is the key. Am I too soon? I'm too soon. You are right about him. You've always been right about him. Fear him. Find us. You have to find us. So you have to find us in his present day and form the Justice League and make sure Lois doesn't die.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Yeah, and his suit looked amazing. Like the mechanic suit and the actual Flash suit, like from the Flash version on the TV, and because they're Barry Allen, they're the same character but different actors, and I think it's totally going to work out well. I mean, Ezra Miller, he's a really good actor, and then you got your TV Flash going on, so it'll be good.
Yeah. Do you think they'll do a Flash movie, or they're gonna keep it like
it's already confirmed?
It's already in process, or?
Yeah, Flash is in 2017, Aquaman's 2018, or they maybe switch around. Cyborg's in 2019.
That's crazy. I mean, I can't. I mean, that's nuts. I mean, it's cool. I'm happy they're doing all this, but man, they're gonna overload people. And I mean, I don't know. It's to me, it's just like sometimes they could do stuff too much. But I like DC. I think it's good that DC is getting time to shine. But I'm just saying, superheroes as a whole, I just gotta be honest. I'm just keeping it real. As a whole, with all the TV shows, all the movies, they're really overloading it. Like, you don't think people are gonna get burnt out from it, or what do you think, Daniel?
I don't think people will, because it's a new experience. I mean, there's never been an Aquaman movie. There's never been a Flash big screen movie. So this is everything new. I mean, it's always a new experience. As long as they keep on making fresh content and fresh storylines, that's always a good thing. Like, and people are complaining about this. they are kind of rushing into Justice League, because imagine like Wonder Woman's getting their movie next year, but then it's Justice League. Why didn't they just do like a Flash movie first, and then like introducing these characters and giving them a little bit of, introducing them, instead of just throwing them all in one movie and like, here's the Justice League. Like, so they get their solo movies after Justice League, which kind of makes no sense. You should give it before Justice League.
Yeah, well, the way that these movies are coming, things are gonna be probably in an improper order, but it's, at the end of the day, at least they're coming. I mean, we're seeing stuff we never thought we would see. Like back in the day, I'm a huge horror movie fan, and I remember for years and years we heard talk about Freddy versus Jason. And then it got to a point where you never, I mean, like 8 years down the road, you never thought it was going to happen. And then it did happen. Same thing with this. We never thought we'd see Batman versus Superman in the movie theater or on anywhere, DVD or anything. And, like movie wise, I'm talking like not cartoon or anything. And it happened. We're going to be seeing Justice League soon. Like even Marvel fans, they got to see the Avengers. You're going to see Spider-Man in Civil War. I mean, it's going to be cool. Like we're going to see a lot of stuff, but at the same time, I just feel they're going to overload people. It's like, even though I like horror movies, I love haunted house movies and all that stuff, sometimes it just gets to a point where like, man, how many can they do of these fucking things in back to back to back to back? But I still watch them. Some people will be like, damn, this is too much, I just can't watch another one, that's it. I just hope they don't burn people out, but I have a feeling they're going to burn some people out. I do have a feeling with that. But I'll be honest with you, I'm still going to see them. If I'm into that character, I still go see them. I love DC. I like Marvel too. Like I said, I like Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah.
I like X-Men. I like stuff like that. I was just a little burnt out of Wolverine. But there's a lot of great movies coming. The new X-Men Apocalypse, I believe it's called.
Yeah.
It looks awesome. Like I didn't see the trailer, but till I saw Batman Superman just recently, that looks cool. Civil War looks cool. Like even the new trailer with Spider-Man, I don't know how people are having issues with how his face is. It's just like that. Like they have issue with, because he looks more like the cartoon. Same thing with Batman and Superman. They got issues with what goes on with that. Like you're never going to satisfy people. But I will say this, at the end of the day, I don't see how there's so many unsatisfied people by this movie. I think it's just a lot of the review people. I think when most people go to the theater and actually see it and don't watch these stupid ass reviews that people just say a bunch of bullshit. Yes, there is some flaws in this movie, but not like how people are putting it. They're just dogging this movie to dog it. And I do feel sorry for Ben Affleck, because he gave this movie his all, and he did a great job as Batman. I'm looking forward to his own Batman movie, and him in future Justice League movies and Suicide Squad. It's going to be cool. But anything else you have to say, Daniel?
Towards like the end, again, like that last action scene, like again, this is something new, obviously. Like this is new to the superhero world. This is big. So imagine we saw Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman fighting alongside. Now just imagine Flash, Aquaman, and Cyborg fighting alongside them, and you have that's going to be amazing to see on the big screen. So you already have half of the Justice League fighting. Now you just need Flash running around fighting Darkseid's minions, and I don't know, Aquaman creating some sort of tsunami or something. It's going to be crazy on how they do it. I don't know how the budget for Justice League, because they start filming in 2 weeks, and it's going to be crazy. And seeing Wonder Woman fight now, knowing how her movie is going to be, how that action scenes could work out. And I love the whole the drums. Like the drums go heavy on the part where they show Belgium 1918, and it shows Chris Pine next to Wonder Woman, and that's literally taken like straight out of the movie when they were filming it. It's gonna be awesome. I mean, the next movie again is like, well, Captain America: Civil War is the next superhero movie, which they got some, but Marvel usually never has these many problems as what DC just had, and I think Civil War could be better than Batman v Superman, because you got Black Panther, you got Spider-Man, but then again, the next DC movie is Suicide Squad, which is after, like it's confirmed it takes place after Batman v Superman.
Well, listen to the thing. Seeing Batman versus Superman, I love the movie, but do I think Suicide Squad has the potential to be a better movie? Yes, I do. I think it's going to be a more well-written movie, but at the same time, a lot of people don't know who Suicide Squad is. If it wasn't for me watching Arrow, I wouldn't have a clue what Suicide Squad was. So they could have the same issue not explaining things very well. They got to explain the Suicide Squad very well, which if you look at the trailer, they could give you a general idea that it's basically like a special ops organization of criminals. Like if you watch Arrow, you'll definitely know what Suicide Squad is because it's actually in Arrow. But I think I have high hopes for Suicide Squad, but at the same time, Batman vs Superman was an excellent movie. I just think they could have explained. My biggest flaw with this movie is they could have explained things better. You know, that's something they could have done. But the action scenes, if you're going there for action and everything, and you're not like a person that's gonna sit there and pick apart the story and cry about everything, you're gonna love this movie. You're gonna love it. But yeah, I'm looking forward. Suicide Squad, I have very high hopes for. Will I? I do think has the potential to beat this, just like towards the critics, because it just looks like that movie, has well, let's put this too. It has Will Smith and a lot of good actors. I don't know. I just see people liking Suicide Squad more. But if you are a Batman, Superman fan, who knows? Like you might just love them both. Like me, I'm gonna love both the movies. But I'm excited for Suicide Squad, especially after seeing this. But Civil War is gonna be good too. I have to say that Civil War looks awesome. I can't sit. And you said Civil War might be better. It possibly might. Civil War looks awesome. I have to say that. I like Spider-Man. I can't sit here but see, I love Iron Man, but Iron Man can do wrong. Like Iron Man 2 was horrible, and I didn't care much for 3, but I love the first Iron Man. That's the only thing. I didn't hate 3 like 2. Like 2, I was very disappointed by Iron Man 2. 3 was like a little bit better than 2 to me. But I love the first one, so I'm looking forward to Iron Man and Captain America going at it. It's gonna be pretty cool, especially with Spider-Man in the mix and everybody else. And Black Panther looks awesome. But I am more of a DC fan, and I want to make this clear too. I'm not sitting in this podcast review discussion just cheering up Batman, Superman because I'm a DC fan. No, guys, I'm honest with everything I do here on YouTube. I would tell you if it's a bad movie, and it's not a bad movie by far. It's a bunch of bullshit you're seeing here on the internet. Would you agree, Daniel, with that?
Yeah, I agree. That's true.
Because the internet almost, like I said, persuaded me not to see this movie, and I'm so glad that I watched Daniel's first impressions and I watched Angry Joe. Angry Joe, he didn't like. He said he advised people go see it, but he did point out some bad stuff to it. But he did an honest review. Did he score it as high as I did? No, but he gave me enough info and Daniel to go see it. Like, there's not many people cheering this movie up on the internet. And I'm not doing it because I'm a DC fan. I'm doing it because I love the movie. It was great, But anything else you want to add to this podcast, Daniel?
Let me think real quick. The opening was awesome. I mean, one can if you want to convince people to go see this movie, for one thing, Ben Affleck is Batman, fantastic. We've got a new Batman finally. You get to see Flash, Aquaman, and Cyborg, even though for a few seconds. I think the Flash cameo, even the one where he's warning about the future, that was amazing. The effects are awesome. I mean, really top notch. And for all who wouldn't want to go see this movie? As in, you have Batman, Wonder Woman, mind you, and Superman fighting Doomsday. I mean, why not see the movie? It's even the last crappy superhero movie ever to release was Fantastic Four, and this movie is not like a Fantastic Four, thank God. It's great for superhero fun, entertainment, and then yes, it has its problems, and it has many problems, but not where it ruins. It's a movie that I could see over and over and over again. As in, well, when I have the DVD, I could look at it, look at the action scenes again. I could, I want to see behind the scenes, and I wouldn't mind being in the theater, which is crazy, for 3 hours, 3.5 hours watching the full length version. I wouldn't mind actually seeing that. So, and then you could see where it could be rated R. Like, definitely when the Waynes get murdered, you could see like that could be rated R, some more blood. It's gonna be epic, the Blu-ray.
Yeah, the Blu-ray is going to be cool because we're going to see more stuff. We didn't get to see in the movie.
Yeah.
One thing I want to say too, the whole thing with Bruce Wayne, how he always loses his parents. How they, the original Batman, with Michael Keaton, basically where, the Joker killed his family. This one, it's just some random two that I believe killed his family. Like the first one with Michael Keaton was the Joker, and then the one with the Dark Knight, that was just basically one of Falcone's men. What wasn't it, or
for Gotham?
For the Dark Knight series.
Oh, Dark Knight.
It's always like the same series. It's always the same situation, but it's a different person. It's like they kill his parents when they're. Now this one, I will say before we end this podcast, it was cool how they killed his parents, because Martha Wayne, when he shot the gun, her pearl necklace was hooked to the gun, and when it ejected, it pulled the pearls loose. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I like
straight out of the comics too.
Yeah, that was cool. Now, a lot of people always think that from the first Batman movies that the Joker killed his parents, because of that movie from the original Batman movie. But it's a different storyline. Different storylines have different ways, but usually always the same way. Usually, they got killed walking out of, even on the show Gotham, leaving the theater, they got killed. But I thought it was pretty good,
But it's weird. They didn't get killed in the alley. They literally got killed like right on the sidewalk. I noticed that. They were like not in an alley. He just went up and shot and then left.
But it's basically right after the theater usually. I don't know. There might be a Batman. Like, I don't read a lot of the comics, but I do know some things from the comics that I've heard from my brother and that I've seen on YouTube, and heard from friends that like comics. But I've never heard of them dying any other way, but there might be another storyline that they die other than leaving the theater. But yeah, somebody wrote, and I want to say thank you to Destiny Power Up NGN for watching. Great. I really appreciate everybody watching. The horror filmer, I think I said him too, Kazooie. VGL Bear Hugger, Matthew Pipes, like I said earlier, Levon, 16-Bit Gamester, Glue Reviews, the list goes on. Thank you guys for watching, and I will be streaming in a little bit. I'm going to be doing some UFC. I believe Destiny said he picked it up, so if you want to play, that's fine. I'm just going to be messing around with it because I didn't get to play it last night. I ended up watching a little bit of Deadpool and fell asleep. And I've watched almost about close to caught up with Arrow. We're gonna have an Arrow podcast soon where we talk nothing but Arrow. We're gonna be doing more podcasts like this, like where we just go over, like say we both see a movie or we cover a whole TV show of like a season. We'll talk like, the whole podcast just about that. This was enough information to do a whole podcast on, and I really enjoyed doing this podcast. Thank you, Daniel, for joining me on this one.
Yep, you're welcome.
Daniel's channel will be in the description. Check him out. He does great reviews. He does a lot of TV show reviews, movie reviews, reactions to trailers. And most likely, guys, we will be doing when The Walking Dead, the final episode happens, the last one. What's the last one called?
The Last Day on Earth.
The Last Day on Earth. After that takes place, that maybe the next day we're going to do a podcast, nothing but Walking Dead, with that episode, and the rest of the season we're just going to go over things that happen and just do a whole season 6 finale podcast, and it's going to be pretty cool. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching Batman vs Superman. Thumbs up from me. Great movie. Daniel agrees. Like I said, thank you, Daniel, for doing this podcast, and more podcasts, more Movie Tweaker podcasts to come. Later, YouTube.